everybody, and welcome back. This is SaberX coming at you live with another Beasts of the Mesozoic toy review. And today we're going to be looking at the Beasts of the Mesozoic 1/18th scale Moros intrepidus by Creative Beast Studio and David Silva from the Tyrannosaur series. So here we are. There is our incredible and tiny figure. And before we take a look at this beautiful toy, let's take a look at the packaging for it, shall we? So, here we have our box for Moros intrepidus. And as you can see, it's got some beautiful artwork on it, done by the fantastic artist Raf Lamoten, who really is a master at his craft in regards to dinosaur artwork, and just artwork in general. But inside you can see the diorama that you can take out as a cardboard backing and place behind your figure if you so choose to. And of course, on the back we also have our obligatory product shots, information about this dinosaur, and yeah, the list of dinosaurs within the Wave 3 toy line for the Tyrannosaurs for Beasts of the Mesozoic. Inside the box, we also get, along with the figure, this incredible card done by Raf Lamoten in regards to the artwork. And of course, on the back you get your obligatory product shot. And of course, you also get the ever-important set of, drumroll please, instructions. Yay! And seriously, you are going to need these if you want to play with your figure without breaking it, because this is a very delicate little toy. And if you don't heat the joints up with either hot water or a hairdryer, it's not going to come together right, the joints aren't going to move properly, and you could end up breaking your figure, which nobody wants. So, be sure when you take this figure out, you immediately heat it up. I prefer to use a hairdryer for this, but to each their own. Although I personally find hairdryers are more consistent in regards to that, especially the ones that are more powerful. But anyway, moving on, let's take this figure back and showcase his incredible beauty. So here we have our beautiful little Moros intrepidus. This is one of the more newly discovered tyrannosaurs, and yeah, the coloration is based off a bird called a painted redstart, which is a native to here in the United States, as I recall correctly. But yeah, it fits the dinosaur perfectly in regards to the color scheme. Honestly, I can't imagine Moros intrepidus looking like this. Even though we have seen Jurassic World Dominion, I honestly think this color scheme is more likely than that for, yeah, that seen in any movie. Especially Jurassic World Dominion. But either way, this is a pretty famous dinosaur already, in spite of the fact that it's been fairly recently discovered. We get to mess around with its dinosaur in Jurassic World Evolution 2 as one of the animals we can keep. So it's getting famous. I mean, it's not anywhere near as famous as the later Tyrannosaurs like Tyrannosaurus Rex, but it's getting there. And eventually, we're going to get more stuff with this dinosaur in it. Now, articulation-wise, this dinosaur figure has roughly 19 points of articulation, because it does not have opposable tongue like the larger tyrannosaurs. But if we take him and look closer at him like this, as you can see, he's got a beautiful color scheme. Yeah, he's got a mouth that can open and close like this. His jaws open about that far. The head and neck are both on ball joints, and so he can turn his head about this far to the right, this far to the left, up about this far, down about that far. Doesn't have as much down motion as he does up, but it doesn't matter really. The arms can rotate roughly a full 360, but I wouldn't recommend it. They are very tightly, the joints are very tight, but he can also rotate his arms outward about this much. The elbow bends about about that far, and mine still has joints that are slightly tight at the elbow, so he doesn't have the best articulation, but these feathers impede him from going a full straight from a 90-degree angle. But the wrists also move, and they can go about, they can do a full 360. As you can see, they got yellow on the inside of the hands, which really nice color, and in and out wrist movement. But yeah, he is such a cool figure. And both arms are articulated, as are both legs, but I will get to those in a minute. The torso can move right, left, up about that far, down about that far. So he doesn't have the best up and down movement in his torso, but he does in his tail. So it can go down that far at the base. And the tail, of course, does have a wire in it, so you can pose him however you want. Now the legs can move very well, but honestly I wouldn't recommend further than about this far forward and maybe about this far back, although they can rotate probably about 360. I would not recommend it because of the the clearance issues with the hips. So if you don't want to pop your dinosaur's legs off its ball joint, off those ball joints, don't do it. The legs can move back about 90 degree to about a 90-degree bend, and mine are still a little tight, so bear with me here. So they can move about that far back and about that far forward at the knee. At the ankle, they can bend about this far forward, this far back, like so. The feet can move forward and back like so. They also have swivel because they're on ball joints. And this is true for both legs. So he's got quite a bit of movement, and you can pose him however you like. Personally, I like this static standing position because he's the most stable in it. But you can pose him in running or walking poses. And he comes with not only an extra cradle for supporting his weight for this clear translucent stand, so you get this, but he also comes with 2 sets of feet, one of which includes this set of running toes, so I like to call them mid-stride toes, and then there's this set of closed toes, which are meant to be displayed in running positions. So you can pose him all manner of ways, but again, if you're going to put those legs on, be very, very careful and use a hairdryer to soften up the joints with the plastic, because you don't want to break the little feet or the little ball joints on this figure. That would not be a good idea. If you do, David Silva is incredibly good and very courteous about replacing these. I love his customer service in regards to that. He's helped me out quite a bit. So it's always nice to know that the creator of these toy lines will help you out if for any reason your figure is badly damaged for any reason. But yeah. Now in regards to the base is standard for these smaller Tyrannosaur figures, and as you can see, beautifully painted with all the rocks and the sticks and everything else. But yeah, this is standard appearance for the base for these smaller Tyrannosaurs. The 8-inch Tyrannosaur figures. So this is the same for others within the toy line of this size, including Guanlong, Susquityrannus, and Proceratosaurus, as well as the other Wave 3 small Tyrannosaur, Eotyrannus. But yeah, just I love it. It's beautiful. And I think my favorite part of this figure is the red chest and eyes on this Moros intrepidus. He is absolutely phenomenal. Now, in regards to facts about Moros intrepidus, it is known mainly from the Cedar Mountain Formation, if not exclusively from the Cedar Mountain Formation in Utah. It lived about 96 million years ago, and it was contemporary with several familiar species of dinosaurs and several varieties that you might not have heard of, including the ankylosaurs Anamantarx and Sidaropelta, the iguanodont Eoni, not to mention the dromaeosaur Deinonychus, which also lived in that formation, and the gigantic predatory dinosaur Shiats micrororum. Now, Shiats is interesting because it may or may not be related, albeit distantly, to Moros intrepidus. Because if it turns out to be a member of the Megaraptora, a group of large predatory dinosaurs with huge hand claws, that also means it was potentially related to tyrannosaurs, as the strongest evidence at present seems to suggest that Megaraptorans are related to tyrannosaurs. That is to say, they are the closest relatives to tyrannosaurs in general. And hopefully more fossils of both Shiats and other Megaraptorans, whether they are speculated to be within that family or confirmed members, will help to clear this up. But Moros intrepidus was basically a small scavenger and small game hunter in this environment. It would have been preying on the small animals and perhaps feeding on stuff that Shiats left behind. It was more of a coyote in its environment, or perhaps even akin to a fox in the environment. But it would have also probably competed with Deinonychus. And quite likely Deinonychus, Deinonychus probably would have been quite ferocious in fights with Moros. Nevertheless, it's still an amazing thing to think about. So, you would have had raptor on tyrannosaur fights for real, but maybe not at the scale you might like to think about. It would have been on a much smaller scale. But anyway, this is an incredible figure. It's about 8 inches long, which is standard for the for the smallest members of the 1/18th scale Tyrannosaur line. And arguably, I love the coloration on this one the most out of all of them for the small Tyrannosaurs. I mean, personally, Eotyrannus and Guanlong are tied for first place in regards to my favorite of these small Tyrannosaurs, but this one comes pretty dang close. And I love it. Now, I'm not going to do a size comparison for this one yet, because as with the other Wave 3 figures, I am going to hold off on that until I finally have all the big ones, so I can showcase them all together, so that you can see the entirety of the toy line compared with one another. And yeah, you're gonna get your eyes open to the diversity of all these different Tyrannosaurs together. But yeah, it's definitely something I look forward to sharing with you. Now, price-wise, this Tyrannosaur figure is one of the least expensive. It's roughly about $40. And I got it by way of pre-order, so it was a little cheaper. It was about $35, but this is a Tyrannosaur that's not going to break the bank. It is small, but it is very important, and honestly, if you want a little Tyrannosaur and you're not looking to get any of the big ones, and you want something that you can show off and pose and do all sorts of things with at a scale that, yeah, at a smaller scale, this might be the one for you. So please do consider this one, and if you want a smaller Tyrannosaur. I know I did, and it's just absolutely incredible. I do not regret anything in regards to getting this little guy, and I look forward to showcasing him along with the other small Tyrannosaurs together with the rest of the family when it comes time for that. But yeah, I can't recommend these guys enough. I never get tired of reviewing them. So this is SaberRex signing off, saying you're never too old to play with toys. Be a toy nerd, be proud of it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and hit the bell icon to keep updated. And have a good evening. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night. Bye-bye.